What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right. So look, I was on the Brother Ticket TV's panel yesterday. We were talking about Draymond Green and his latest antics, man. And I have to ask this question again. I've done this video before, but I have to ask this again, right? If let's just say the perception that look, Draymond isn't really a Hall of Famer, but he's going to get in because of media bias, the LeBron effect and influence and all of that shit. Let's just say, unfortunately, that's going to be the case. He's not really a Hall of Famer, but they're going to push him in anyway, right? Which I think would be the biggest travesty ever. But at that point, I'm telling you, if this motherfucker gets in, I'm going to have if I'm still here, I'm going to have an unrelenting campaign to get this guy in the Hall of Fame. Now, fortunately, the last couple of years, he has been a finalist. Because if you're going to lower the bar to let Draymond Green in, then it makes no sense whatsoever to keep Michael Cooper out. As well as a couple of other players. But I'm going to talk about Michael Cooper for a second. People keep talking about Draymond Green's 4 championships and his Defensive Player of the Year award, and they talk about, the fact that he's been on some all-defensive teams. I think 5 or 6 of them or something like that, right? Okay, fine. Okay? If you think that's strong enough for him to be on those teams, then you have to let Michael Cooper in. Michael Cooper won 5 NBA championships with the Los Angeles Lakers. 5. He was on 8 all-defensive teams, 5 first team. He won a Defensive Player of the Year award in 86, 87. Okay? Like Draymond, Michael Cooper could guard multiple positions. He had the speed and quickness to guard point guards, to guard shooting guards, but he also had the length at 6'7" and 190, 195, but the long arms and whatnot. He had the length to guard small forwards and some power forwards. All right? He took a lot of, his role was very, very important for the Lakers. Very important. Number one, he took a lot of the defensive pressure off of Magic Johnson and Byron Scott. All right? He was the link between the backcourt and the front court. He took a lot of defensive pressure off of Michael Thompson, who really kind of was there for the dirty work anyway, and to guard the more offensively later on in the dynasty. Michael Cooper was there to do the dirty work, rebounding, and to guard the more offensively potent player. Kareem's job was basically to score. But Cooper could be that help defender in the front court, as well as that help defender in the back court, and the guy that could help shut down the most potent offensive player in the league. Now, look, you're not going to shut down a great player all the time. You're just not. You're not going to shut down Dominique Wilkins or Michael Jordan or whoever. But if you can contain them enough, that's what Michael Cooper provided. And also, Michael Cooper, in his era, was a premier three-point shooter, 34%. Now, today's NBA, that's a little bit subpar, but not in the 80s. In the 80s, the average three-point percentage was 25, 26%, depending on what part of the age you're talking about. Cooper shot 34% for his career. The last 5 years of his career, he was a 36% three-point shooter. All right? So, you look at the fact that he was a better shooter from outside than Draymond Green was in an era where it would benefit him to be a shooter. Michael Cooper, in his era, despite playing on a team with Magic Johnson, Byron Scott, who both Magic was putting up 19, 20, 21, 22 points a game. Byron Scott was putting up 14, 15, 16 points a game. Kareem, depending on what part of his career, was putting up either 15 at the end or 20, 25, whatever. So there weren't a lot of scoring opportunities, but yet in fewer minutes per game compared to Draymond Green, he was still scoring a little bit more. And he was a underrated passer, Cooper. You know, in only 27 minutes per night, he was averaging over 4 assists. So that's a great benefit to have a guy who, along with Magic Johnson, was an exceptional passer as well. And when you add to the resume the fact that he was the All-Star Game MVP in the Italian League in 1991, and he was a 2-time champion as the head coach of the LA Sparks, and he was the coach of the year for the WNBA one year. When you look at that resume, it's superior to Draymond Green's. But people don't look at Michael Cooper as a Hall of Famer, and I have to argue the reason why that is because the bar used to be a lot higher years ago. We just didn't look at role players as Hall of Famers. But if you're going to lower the bar like that, then yeah, you got to put in Michael Cooper. You got to put in Rasheed Wallace. You got to put in. That's why they finally said, wait a minute, man, how are we not putting in fucking Chris Webber? This is ridiculous. Now, I think it was a little bit of a penalty because of the issues going on in college and all that shit. But still, you know, with the legal shit, but still, he finally got in. But now, look, if you put in Draymond Green, you got to start putting in, and I hate to say this as a Chicago Bulls fan, but man, if you're going to put Draymond Green in, then what the fuck is keeping Bill Laimbeer out the Hall of Fame? What the fuck is keeping, guys like, Tim just got in, Tim Hardaway. But what's keeping KJ out the Hall of Fame? What's keeping Terry Cummings out the Hall of Fame? Tom Chambers out the Hall of Fame? Shit, at this point, Antoine Jameson, he had 20,000 career points. Joe Johnson. I mean, if we're just going by numbers like championship rings and an award, well, surely 20,000 points should be enough to get you in the Hall of Fame. Remember, 500 home runs used to be an instant Hall of Fame stat. So 20,000 points, man, that should get you in the Hall of Fame. Or close to it. What about, one guy that should get in the Hall of Fame that hasn't been? Walter Davis. Walter Davis should be in the Hall of Fame, maybe. Maybe Glenn Rice. If we're lowering the bar this much, we got to start looking at some of these other guys who, unfortunately, didn't get into the Hall of Fame. So, that's just all. That's my opinion, man. You know what I'm saying? I agree with it. Tell me what you guys think.